Hey guys, welcome back to another Underground Virtuosos video. My name is Paul. I'm a violin and viola teacher located in San Diego, California. So today we're going to be talking about part 3 of Spiccato. We're going to focus extra on speed, height, and dynamic, a combination of all three that gives us different types of sound depending on which part of the bow we're going to be playing in. If you haven't seen part 1 or part 2 of Spiccato yet, I strongly suggest you to check that out before you come back to this one, where I talked about various techniques that help you get started so that you can perform what we're going to be talking about today. So we're going to start with the lower part of the bow, which is kind of near the frog. Now here we have a kind of a maximum speed, you can say. Definitely won't be able to play much faster than anywhere we can do it in the middle. Okay, but the frog, because it's so much heavier, it's easier for us to play a louder dynamic. It's easier for us to play much shorter stroke because we have a lot of control over it. So we can play very staccato plus very strong dynamic at the same time. Something similar to this. Okay, now it might not be the most pleasant sound. So near the frog is really kind of one of those special parts of the bow that you would save if you're trying to perform spiccato there. I would say it would be for you trying to play like a little bit of a rough sound, where as opposed to a refined tone that you can achieve when you go a little bit higher in the bow. Okay, so frog, a little bit kind of on the slower side, but a bigger sound, rougher. Now, if we go a little bit higher than that, so we're going to now move kind of a couple inches higher than that, this is where it's going to become more refined. You can play the same, kind of similar to the same dynamic that we were able to here at the frog, but it's going to just become a little bit more refined because it's not going to be as rough. Let me do a quick demonstration here. Now, just for comparison's sake, I'm going to be doing it here near the frog. Okay, and then once again, a little bit higher than that. Okay, so you can hear that a little bit higher, like kind of an inch or two higher than the frog, you can hear that just a little bit more change in color where the sound becomes more refined, a little bit more rounded. It's not so rough and so depending on the style of the music, I would say generally speaking, if you want to play at a forte dynamic staccato that is not too fast, so maybe like eighth notes or faster quarter notes, then you would be playing it like 2 inches higher than the index finger for the frog part. Okay, the lower half part. But if you're trying to aim for a very, very rough sound, then by all means, scooch closer to that index finger, to that frog area of the bow here. Okay, now we're going to go even higher. So we're going to go a little bit higher than that, 2 inches. So here we go. So this right here is kind of going into that zone where we let the bow start to have its own natural bounce. So this is where you will need to control less, and this is also where the dynamic is not going to be as strong. If you try to play strong dynamic in this part of the bow, this is what it's going to sound like. You know, it's going to not sound very clean. It sounds kind of similar to here, and that's because by using that much of a force, you have to kind of take control of the bow, and that doesn't give you that refined quality of a bow naturally bouncing, have a rounder tone to it. So generally speaking, it's not ideal to play up there if you're trying to play really spiccato stroke or staccato, where the notes are very, very short, very, very separated. So over here, it's better to kind of start to engage that natural bounce, something more like this. Yeah. Okay. Now I don't know if you can here or see the difference here, I'm going to show you. Watch this area right here. So I'm going to play one more time for you and notice how much my bow is really coming off the string. So I'm really close, right? I'm coming off maybe like a centimeter or so. It's really close to the string, as opposed to if I were to play it in the lower part of the bow. You see a little bit higher than where I was playing. So this kind of gives you an idea of height as well. When we play slower and when we play closer to the frog, we have a little bit more bow control, right? Because we're trying to do an artificial spiccato. So therefore, you can have the height slightly higher because of the sound that you're going for as well and the dynamic. As opposed to if you're trying to play faster and you play kind of near where the natural bounce is, which is kind of more towards the middle balance point to middle, then this is where you cannot really bounce that high, otherwise you will start to lose control, right? Just like bouncing a basketball, when you bounce with a certain amount of weight coming back up, it's going to, if you bounce too much, right, it's going to come back really strong. So you want to just have enough, and this is where that natural bounce is if you're going towards the middle part of the bow. So now in the middle part of the bow, this is where you can play really fast spiccato, okay? And the height would be really close to the string, almost not look like it's coming off the string, kind of like this. So it's really close. I am bouncing maybe like half or less centimeter, 1 centimeter. So really very close to the string. Okay. When you try to play spiccato that is that fast, generally if you are losing control, it can be because you're in the wrong part of the bow. But if you're in the right part of the bow, then you just have to think about staying closer to the string and also letting the bow do its natural bounce. Okay. And in terms of dynamic, I would say you won't be able to play very loud near that part of the bow if you're trying to perform spiccato. So it's great for mezzo piano, pianissimo dynamic, where you go really soft. Right, as opposed to in the lower part of the bow. Okay, so that's just to give you a general idea of a combination of speed, height, and dynamic for you. Okay, I decided to make this video just so that you guys really understood or get to understand which part of the bow is best for what, and depending on the style of the spiccato and the speed of it, you would be playing at different parts of the bow. Okay, so if you have any questions, please leave it down in the comments below for spiccato. It is definitely a more advanced technique, and I would say no matter at what level playing you are, you really always have to kind of polish that skill because it is something that requires proper control, right? Depending on which part of the bow you're in. Okay, so if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions, comments, leave it down below, and hit that subscribe button. As always, thanks for watching.